Alright guys, I am here to bring you another classic southern dish for the holidays. This is a creamy homemade one-pot mac and cheese recipe. I started by pouring my elbow macaroni into a large Dutch oven, and then I added my milk straight to the pasta and turned it on medium-low heat, and I'm just going to cover the pasta and let it begin to cook. And then I had to begin the most tedious part of this entire recipe, which is grating 2 whole pounds of cheese. And I didn't want to torture you by making you watch me do this, so we're going to cut to the chase. This is also right about the time I realized that I'm totally going to order that viral cheese grater that I've seen on TikTok over and over and over. Yeah, it's going in my cart ASAP. Because hand grating cheese just might be the worst kitchen chore there is. I don't know. You can comment and let me know if there's something worse. So now I'm going to stir my pasta and my milk. It is starting to warm up and simmer. For some reason, my pasta kept trying to stick to the bottom of my pot. I covered it with a lid, but I did take the lid off and stir it quite frequently because I don't want the pasta to stick and burn. Now, you're going to notice a couple of different things about this recipe. So, number one, it's all made in one pot. We're literally not going to boil the pasta in water and drain it. We're not even going to transfer it to a baking dish to pop it under the broiler. I chose a pot that could also transfer to the oven for that very reason. Something else that's very unique about this recipe is we don't have to make a roux, which is just flour and butter, in order to thicken our cheese sauce. But since we're cooking the pasta in the milk, the starches in the pasta are going to come out, and we're not draining them, we're not rinsing them, we're not losing that starch. That is actually what is going to make our pasta thick. You can already see it here. I did add my seasonings to my pasta while it was cooking and thickening up, which was some Dijon mustard, some salt, some pepper, and paprika. Now I'm going to add some cream cheese and let that completely melt into my macaroni before I add all of that shredded cheese and fold that in. Now you can use any type of cheese that you like. I'm going to use some mild cheddar and some mild white cheddar. If you like a stronger cheese flavor, definitely go with the sharp cheddar here. You could use Gruyere, you could use Parmesan, and if you're a Velveeta fan, feel free to do that as well. But my family tends to like the milder cheeses when it comes to macaroni and cheese. And fun fact, my grandmother made amazing macaroni and cheese, but she did it with spaghetti noodles. Yeah, you heard that right. And she would call it spaghetti and cheese. It was a huge hit with our entire family, and she would make it with spaghetti noodles, slices of Kraft singles, milk, butter, salt, and pepper. I know it sounds plain and maybe uninteresting, but let me tell you, it was one of the most coveted dishes on the table. And even now to this recipe, adding Kraft single cheese slices would be amazing. The final thing I'm going to do is add the remainder of my cheese on top of the pot, because when I added my shredded cheese, I did not add all of it. I reserved a little bit for the top. So I'm going to put a little bit of that cheddar. I'm going to put a little bit of that white cheddar. And I'm going to pop it under the broiler for 2 to 3 minutes. It might take a little bit longer, depending on what your goal is. I just wanted to melt the cheese, and I did get a little bit of golden brown on top, but you can leave it in there as long as you like for whatever texture or color that you're looking for. Some people like a crunchy topping on top of their macaroni and cheese, and this would be the time to do that. You can opt for some seasoned breadcrumbs, or you could also crumble up some Ritz crackers on top, and that would be delicious as well. Now, I do have a small confession to make. In my family of 5, there are 2 kiddos that don't really like macaroni and cheese. Crazy, right? I haven't met very many kids that didn't like mac and cheese, but I wound up having 2. It's not that they hate it, it's just not their favorite side dish. But my husband and my oldest son and myself enjoy a good classic homemade mac and cheese alongside some of our favorite main dishes like fried deer steak, pot roast, or even grilled ribeyes. As always, the complete recipe can be found on my blog, which is in the link in the description below. You have to make it, guys. You have to.